all of you to the Swiflearn online classes. So today is the second session of the chapter metals and non-metals. We will discuss about that chapter. So before going to the chapter, let us see what Swiflearn is. Okay, so as you already know what is Swiflearn, it is the India's most sincere learning destination for the classes 3 to 10, right? So over here we get the live classes. Okay, these all the classes of Swiflearn are live and interactive classes where student can ask any sort of doubts and the teacher explain all the topics clearly in our live classes. Secondly, we give the personalized attention to all the students of our batches because our batch consists maximum number of 6 students. Okay. Thirdly, we have a very good dedicated academic mentor team who continuously track on the progress of the students. So how the students are doing the classes, how they're doing the homework, performing in the different tests, everything is tracked by our academic mentor. And fourthly, which is very important, that we cover all the syllabus according to your school exams, right? So whenever you have any particular topic in your school exam, you can tell us and we can give more classes or extra revision classes to you. Accordingly, you will be able to prepare yourself for your school exams, right? And the very important thing is we also handle the custom request. Now let us move on to the key features of Swiflearn. So what are the key features? First is we prepare the detailed progress report of all the students. Okay, so how you were attending the classes, you were doing the homework or not properly in time, or how you were scoring in the different topics. Everything is recorded, and accordingly, we give the progress report to the parents. Fine. Secondly, we have the SATs, which is the Swiflearn Academic Test Series, where you can perform and see where you are standing. Fine. Thirdly, we have unlimited practice test series. So when you are completed revision with one topic, you can perform in the practice test. You can take the different test and you will be able to understand where you are standing and in which topic you have to improve, right? Or in which topic you were lagging, right? So we have an unlimited practice test which can be of like all the objective questions are there, subjective questions are there, you can perform all of them. Okay, as well as objective contents, the MCQs, filling the blanks, true false, one word, everything clear. And we also have the special subjective test for the school exam. Before going to the school exam, you can practice this subjective test series where you have to write the answer, and our team, the teachers of our team, check this answer and generally they give you the tips how to write the answer and how to score better. Okay, so these are all the different key features we have in Swiflearn. So don't be late, book a free trial class in Swiflearn and experience our classes. Fine. So for all of this, what you have to do, you have to subscribe our channel. Please subscribe our channel, press on the bell icon, okay, so that you will be updated with all the upcoming sessions on YouTube. Fine. Okay, so please give like, comment and share with all your family members, friends and relatives. ठीक है चलो. So this is all about the Swiflearn. So hopefully we will see all of you in Swiflearn. Okay. So let us now go to the topic. So today's topic I have already mentioned that yesterday, the day before yesterday, we have already done about the metals and non-metals, right? The session 1 of metals and non-metals, where we learned about all the physical properties of metals and non-metals. So today we will mainly learn about the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. So are you ready, everyone? Okay, chalo. So let us see कि हम क्या क्या पढ़ने वाले हैं आज. ठीक है. So first we will study about the chemical properties of the metals and non-metals. तो chemical properties का मतलब क्या है? Yes, physical properties we already know that whether they are producing sound or they are malleable, ductile, or good conductor of electricity or heat, those were the physical properties. We already have discussed a lot in the previous session. है ना? So today we will mainly see how they are reacting with all the other chemicals. Okay, so those will all come under the chemical properties of metal and non-metal. Clear? So first we will see how the metals and non-metals are reacting with the oxygen. Secondly, we will see how they are reacting with water. Then we will see how metals and non-metals are reacting with acids. And finally, we will see that how the metals and non-metals are reacting with the bases. Clear? Then we will learn about a different type of reaction which is known as the displacement reaction. Okay, so we will study the definition of the displacement reaction as well as the different examples. Fine. Then we will see the different uses of metals and non-metals. Why are we so much conscious about the metals and non-metals, or why do we have to know about metals and non-metals? ये क्या काम पे आते हैं, है ना? तो we will look into the uses of them, okay, in our daily lives. So let's start with today's topic. Chalo. So the materials around us, I already said in the previous session that whatever is present around us, all of them are either metals or non-metals. So in the periodic table, we see 118 elements are present, है ना? So they are mainly grouped into two different things, metals or non-metals, and another category is also there, that is metalloids. So six to seven metalloids are there in the element. Yeah. And we have seen that most of them are the metals and a few of them are the non-metals, है ना? These metals and non-metals, we use them in everyday life. Yeah. Okay, so can you give me some of the examples of the metals? Yeah. Very good. The iron, copper, aluminium, silver, gold, platinum, these are all the metals, right? So all these materials are the metals and we use them every day in our daily activities. है ना? So can you give me some of the properties which we have already learned in the previous session? What are the different physical properties of the metal? Yes. Yeah, they are sonorous. That means they produce sound. Yes, they are ductile, they are malleable, they are a very good conductor of heat and electricity. Yes, generally जो होता है, they are mainly in solid form. Yes, and also we have studied about the non-metals. So non-metals में वो सारे physical properties नहीं हैं. They cannot produce sound. They are not a good conductor of heat and electricity. They are the bad conductors. They are non-ductile, they are non-malleable. Generally, they are found in the gaseous state, and also some of them are in the solid state, and only one of them is in the liquid state. We already discussed it, right? So, do you think that they do not perform any sort of activity in our life? Yes. What do you see? Let me see. No, they are also very important for our survival, है ना? So can we survive without oxygen? Hmm? During breathing, we take the oxygen-rich air, है ना? And after going inside our body, that oxygen go to all the different parts of our body and break down the food particles to produce energy. अगर energy नहीं होता तो हम काम कैसे करते? है ना? So, like oxygen, all other different non-metals are also helpful or also useful in our daily life, right? Okay, so this come under the non-metal, है ना? Okay. So, have you ever seen that have you ever kept the iron particle for a long period of time in the presence of oxygen and the moist air? Yes. What have you seen? What happened to that? If you keep any sort of iron particle for a long period of time in the moist air? Yes. You can refer to this picture. है ना? So you can see this type of brown colored coating which are formed over here. है ना? So this is a type of chemical change. You will never get back the proper original iron from it. Right? So what happened? What is it called? It is called the rust. Okay, and the process is known as rusting. तो rusting में क्या होता है? Yeah, do you know what is rusting? Yes, the iron particles react with the moist air. So moist air का मतलब air में oxygen भी है, and the other with the other different gases they also contain the water, right? So when they combine with each other, they form the oxide of iron Fe2O3, okay, into some molecules of, let me say, n molecules of water. So this is together is the rust. The formation of rust takes place. Right? So if you keep the iron particle for a long period of time in the moisture, it will form rust, the brown coating above the iron particle. Yeah, you can see this type of things in the railings, in the bridge, right? Yes, very good. In the gate, which is made up of iron, है ना? Exactly. Okay, so we know that all the substances possess some of the physical properties, right? And जैसे मैंने already एक example दिया, that is the chemical property. Okay, so the substances also have some chemical properties. So physical properties we have already discussed in the previous session. Yes, so today mainly we will discuss about the chemical properties of all the metals and non-metals. Fine. So what do you mean by this chemical property? It is the characteristic of the substance that may be observed when it is participating in the chemical reaction. So how they are participating in the chemical reaction we will study today. So what we will study? Mainly we will study how the metals and non-metals are reacting in presence of oxygen. Okay. Then we will study how they are reacting with water. Okay. Thirdly, we will see how they are reacting with the different acids. And fourthly, we will study how they are reacting with the different bases. Fine. Up to this much clear? So, शुरू करते हैं the chemical properties. Okay. Now let us see what are the chemical properties of metals and non-metals are there. Right? So already I have told you the rusting, right? So rusting of iron takes place, and what is rusting? This brown colored formation coating formed on the iron if you keep it for a long period of time in the moist air, right? This is the iron oxide Fe2O3. Yes. So what is it actually? What can you conclude from this? What happens when the metal reacts with oxygen? Yeah, exactly. The metals, when they react with the oxygen, they form the metallic oxides, and these metallic oxides are basic in nature. Okay, so these metallic oxides are generally basic in nature. Now you can ask me one question कि कैसे समझोगे कि ये basic है या फिर acidic है? Point, yeah, that is a fact. How will you understand whether the oxide which is forming over here also, iron oxide, is it basic or acidic? Yes, do you have any idea? Yeah. Okay, so when you will react this oxide with water, it will form the base. Okay, and if you react this oxide with the different acid, it will form the salt, because we already know in case of the neutralization reaction which we studied earlier, that acid plus base it produces the salt and water, right? So that is how we can prove that these are the basic oxides. Fine. Another thing, can you tell me how can you prove that this is base? Yes, by treating them with the different indicators, है ना? जैसे litmus paper. Yeah, so we know that the red litmus paper is turned into blue in color if it is basic. Right? Very good. So this proves that the oxides which are formed after the reaction of the metal and oxygen, these are the basic oxides. Fine. Up to this much, I guess it's clear to you, है ना? Let us move on to another example. Yes. So, have you ever seen that when there is any copper vessel or anything made up of copper, if you keep it in the moist air, a similar type of coating formed around it, but it is not the brown in color, it is just like greenish color. Have you ever seen this type of coating? Yeah, sometimes mistakenly we say that fungus growth is there. It seems to be like that. Yeah, do you know what is that? Actually, it is the combination of CuOH whole twice plus CuCO3. So that is the copper carbonate and the copper hydroxide. So they together form the green coating on the copper bases. Fine. Okay, so this is also another chemical chain similar to the rusting. Fine. So up to this much clear how the oxygen reacts, like metals reacts with oxygen. Yes. Okay. Now let us find out how non-metals reacts with oxygen. Do you have any idea what do they produce? They produce the non-metallic oxides. Okay, so when the oxygen react with non-metal, they produce the oxides which are non-metallic or acidic in nature. Okay, so think about one non-metal, let it be the sulfur. Okay, so when sulfur come in contact with the oxygen, they produce the sulfur dioxide. Agree? Now, this sulfur dioxide, when they come in contact with the water, they form the sulfurous acid, okay, which we generally find in the acid rain. Hannah, you have studied about the acid rain, right? Yes, very good. Can you give me any other example like this? Another acid which is also found in the acid rain, carbon, right? Carbonic acid. So, carbon when it acts with when it reacts with oxygen, they form the carbon dioxide. Very simple, we know this, right? Now in the second step, when this carbon dioxide reacts with water, what do they form? They form the carbonic acid. Yeah, so this is the carbonic acid. This acid is also found in the rainwater. Clear hai? Up to this much, any question, any doubt, you can give me. You can type it in the chat box. Yes. Is there any doubt? Okay, so please be with us. Give like, comment, and share. Okay. Okay, chalo. So this is how the non-metals react with the oxygen. Clear hai up to this much? Okay. Now, how will you be able to understand whether the oxides are acidic or oxides are base? I have already mentioned that you can prove it with the help of the litmus paper. It is the indicator, very common indicator. You already know that. है ना? So, the acid turns the blue litmus paper red. Yeah, and if the blue litmus paper is placed within the basic or the neutral solution, it will remain blue. It will not change its color. Okay, and when the you will use the red litmus paper in case of the bases, then it will turn into blue in color. Clear hai? Yes, up to this much clear, I guess. So you will be able to prove that whether the oxides which are produced by reacting with the metals and non-metals, they are acidic or bases. Okay, chalo. Let's now move on to how the metals and non-metals react with the water. So first we will see that how water reacts with the metals. Okay, so over here there are various types of things we will see that different types of metal react differently in the presence of hot water, cold water, or some in with the help of the steam. Okay, some reacts in the steam. Okay, some of them react very fast, some of them show a very slow reaction, so it depends upon the different metals. Okay, Jaisa, it is already written over here that the iron reacts with water very slowly. So can you tell me what is actually formed over here? Iron, that is Fe, when it reacts with water very slowly, actually they form the iron oxides and hydrogen gas. Fine. Okay, but they react very slowly. Okay, there are certain other metals who react very fast and also in the cold water. Okay, so these are the two examples which are given with the sodium and calcium. They react with the cold water. Okay, always keep it in mind that sodium, calcium, and potassium, these are the three metals which react with water, which is with the cold water. Among them, sodium react very fast. It is a very fast reaction with water and oxygen. Okay, so do we get over here? When the sodium react with the water, we get the NaOH. It is a base, right? So I already have mentioned you, we find the bases when the metals, uh, like the metallic oxide or the metals react with the water. So we get the sodium hydroxide when it is sodium. We get the calcium hydroxide if the metal is calcium. So when the calcium reacts with water, we get CaOH whole twice, that is calcium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Fine. Up to this much clear? And already I have mentioned that the sodium metal reacts very fast with the water and oxygen. Okay, so a lot of heat is released in this reaction. Therefore, we generally store the sodium in kerosene. Understood? So if you are asked that why we store the sodium under kerosene, will you be able to say? Yes, because it reacts very fast with the water. Fine. Chalo. So let us move on to the other metals which react with the cold water. So already I have told you that the sodium, calcium and potassium react very fast in the with the help of the cold water, right? So here is the reaction for the potassium, where the potassium when react with water, they form potassium hydroxide and also release the hydrogen gas. Fine. So the metals which react with the cold water, they are more stable as their hydroxides are also stable. Clear? Up to this much, I don't think that you have any question. Do you have any question? You can write the doubts in the chat box. I'll solve it. Okay? Okay. Now let's move on to how the different metal react with the hot water. So, for example, the magnesium, it reacts with the hot water. Okay, so what does it produce? It produces the magnesium oxide and hydrogen gas. So, magnesium is the metal which react with the hot water. Remember. Okay, and some of the metals also react with the steam, जैसे aluminium, iron, zinc. तो iron का already I have shown you the reaction, right? So here it is shown that how aluminium is reacting with the steam. Okay, so this is the steam. Okay, when the aluminium react with the water, it forms the aluminium oxide, Al2O3, and hydrogen gas. So let me show you how it reacts with the zinc. Okay, so zinc is also reacting with the water. I'm writing in bracket G, matlab gaseous form. Okay, so as I have already said that these are the metals which react with steam. So obviously water will be in the gaseous state. Okay, so they generally form zinc oxide. Okay, in the solid form and hydrogen. Okay, in the gaseous form. Fine. Up to this much clear? Okay, so these aluminium, iron, and zinc, these are the different metals which react with the steam or gaseous form of water. Up to this much, any question you can ask me? Yes? Okay, chalo. So now let us move on to see what is the reactivity of the different metals with the water. So it is arranged according to the more reactive to less reactive metals. Okay. So what are the more reactive metals? We already have seen that the potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, they react very easily. Okay, their reactivity with water is very high, and when it is going to aluminium, zinc, like copper and iron, they are less reactive or react very slowly with the water. So is it clear to you all? Yes, any question? So let me give you one tip, that is another information, that is there are certain exceptions which do not react with water, है ना? So do you know what are those metals which do not react with water? They are gold, silver, platinum. Okay, they never react with the water. Clear hai? Okay, now let us move on to the non-metals which react with water. Do you have any idea how they react with water? Yes? Very good. So they do not react with water at all, but but these are quite reactive in the air, and that is why phosphorus is very highly reacted with air when come in contact with the air, and that is why it is stored in water to prevent the explosion. Fine. Other than this, the non-metals generally do not react with water. Clear hai? Okay. Okay, chalo. Now we will see how the different metals and non-metals react with the acid. Right? So first we will see how the metals react with the acid. So do you know that when the metals react with acid, they form the hydrogen gas. Okay, so there are certain reactions which are showing over here. Just look at this reaction. So when the sodium reacts with hydrochloric acid, they form NaCl. It is the salt, you already know that, and hydrogen gas. Fine. And when the magnesium is reacting with the sulfuric acid, H2SO4, they form the magnesium sulfate, MgSO4, and hydrogen gas. Okay, understood? Let me give you some more examples. Do you know how mm, zinc react with HCl? What do they produce? Yes, zinc chloride, right? Zinc chloride plus hydrogen gas. Okay, now can you tell me when copper reacts with H2SO4, what is it produce? It produces the copper sulfate. Okay, CuSO4 plus hydrogen gas. So over here we are seeing that in all the reactions they form the hydrogen gas. Now how will you prove that the gas which is produced over here is hydrogen only? Yeah, yes. So let us see the experiment properly over here, which is given. Look at the picture. See the zinc granule with the sulfuric acid is heated. Okay, so when it is coming, the product are taken in the soap solution. So there are the different bubbles which are forming. So how will you prove that these bubbles are actually the hydrogen gas? Do you know? Yes, you can take any burning matchstick or a candle near to the mouth of the test tube and you will hear a pop sound. That proves that hydrogen gas is evolving. Okay, so that pop sound is the indicator of the formation of hydrogen gas. Clear hai? But also there are certain exceptions, जैसे gold, silver, platinum do not produce the hydrogen gas. Okay, so up to this much clear? Yes? Okay. Now do you know that the copper does not react with the hydrochloric acid, but it reacts with the sulfuric acid. Okay, so I have already shown you how it reacts with the sulfuric acid. Let me again show you how it reacts when the copper reacts with sulfuric acid, H2SO4. Okay, they form copper sulfate plus hydrogen gas. Understood? So copper does not react with the HCl, it only reacts with sulfuric acid, H2SO4. Okay, will you keep it in mind? Yeah, very good. Chalo, let's now move on to how reaction of acid takes place with the nonmetals. Generally, nonmetals do not react with the acids. But there is again one exception. Let me tell you, that is sulfur. Okay, this is the only exception. Sulfur reacts with concentrated HCl, a very concentrated form, which produce the sulfur chloride HCl2 plus hydrogen. Clear hai? Yes. Okay. Now let's move on to the last reactivity, that is the last type of reaction, which is how metals and non-metals react with the bases. Yeah, we have already studied about how the metals and non-metals reacts with the oxygen, reacts with the water, reacts with the acids. Now we will study how they are reacting with the different bases. Fine. So when the metals react with the bases, they also produce the hydrogen gas. Okay. And many metals reacts with sodium hydroxide to produce the hydrogen gas. So can you give some of the examples? Yes. Can you give any example how they are reacting to form the different hydrogen gas and the different compounds? Number one, let me take the example of aluminium. ठीक है, aluminium is the metal. Okay, chalo. So aluminium, when it reacts with sodium hydroxide, okay, and water, yeah, so they produce sodium aluminate. What is the formula of sodium aluminate? NaAlO3. This is the formula of sodium aluminate. Okay, they produce this one plus hydrogen gas. Clear? Let me take another example, that is, let me take the lead. Okay, Pb, lead. So when lead reacts with NaOH, sodium hydroxide, they form sodium plumbite. Remember the name, sodium plumbite. Okay, so what is the formula of sodium plumbite? It is Na2PbO2. Okay, this is the sodium plumbite, and with the evolution of the hydrogen gas. Fine. Now let us move on to the third example. What another metal do you want me to take? Yeah. Okay, let me take zinc. Chalo. So when zinc reacts with NaOH, sorry, zinc reacts with NaOH. Okay, so what do we find? Sodium zincate. Okay, sodium zincate, that is Na2ZnO2. Okay, again with the formation of hydrogen gas. Fine. So over here you are clear that when any metals react with the sodium hydroxide, that is NaOH, okay, NaOH, sodium hydroxide, they produce the hydrogen gas. Clear hai? Yes, you will be able to give the different examples like this. है ना? Okay, chalo. Now, let us move on to the reaction with bases. So, how do the bases react with non-metals? Reaction of the non-metals with the bases are very complicated. Okay, so reaction, just one example is given, the reaction of the chlorine with the sodium hydroxide. They give the sodium hypochlorite as well as water. So let me write down the reaction, chemical equation of it. Okay, so it is said that the chlorine when react with NaOH, that is sodium hydroxide, they form NaClO3. Okay, that is sodium hypochlorite. So what is sodium hypochlorite? NaClO3 with the evolution of with the formation of water plus NaCl. Fine. Okay. And can you tell me how the chlorine react with another base? Yes. Let me take another base, that is calcium hydroxide. It is very important, and that is why I'm telling you. It is very interesting also. We will generally we use the product in our daily life. Okay. So what is the product of here? CaOCl Cl plus water. So do you know what is this CaOCl Cl? It is the formula of bleaching powder. Okay, we use the bleaching powder in many purposes, है ना, as the disinfectant, right? Yes, so this is also another example how the chlorine reacts with the base. Fine. So this is how the different other non-metals also reacts with the bases, but they are a bit complex. Okay, clear hai up to this much? So if you get any sort of question how the acids are reacting with the metals and non-metals, how bases are reacting with metals and non-metals, now it is totally clear to you, I guess. है ना? If you have any doubt, you can again ask me. Yes? Chalo. Now let us move on to the next topic, that is displacement reaction. So what is displacement reaction? It is a special type of reaction where a metal replaces another metal from its compound. Okay, and this type of reaction is known as the displacement reaction. The focus mainly on the example. See, when CuSO4, that is the copper sulfate, is reacting with the zinc, now zinc is taking the sulfate. देखो ZnSO4 हो रहा है. Yes, zinc sulfate हो गया and copper alone रह गया. Okay, so the zinc is more reactive in nature than the copper, and that is why the zinc take the sulfate and copper को छोड़ दिया, अब अकेले रहो. Okay, so this type of reaction is known as the displacement reaction. So it actually happens according to the reactivity. ठीक है, तो this table you have to remember properly. These are the different metals which are arranged as per their reactivity order. So ऊपर में जो भी metals है those are more reactive, और नीचे में जो भी metals है those are less reactive. Okay, so a more reactive metal will always displace the less reactive metal. This is very important line. Okay, so always the more reactive metal displays the less reactive metal from its compound. ठीक है? I guess we will be able to remember this one. है ना? Yes. Then also there is one exception. What is the exception? One exception is there, that is MgSO4 when reacts with zinc, though magnesium is more reactive but zinc is less reactive, we already know this, that is why this is the exception. They form the zinc sulfate and Mg remains alone. Okay, so the zinc over here displaces the magnesium and take its compound. Okay, up to this much clear, I guess? Yes, any doubt? Okay, now let us go move on to the some of the common examples of displacement reaction. जैसे copper sulfate. Okay, when reacts with zinc, it forms zinc sulfate and copper. Clear? You can take the reaction of copper sulfate with iron also. Okay, when it reacts with the iron, they form the ferrous sulfate plus copper. Clear? We can also take the copper with silver nitrate in the aqueous solution. Okay, silver nitrate. So what will happen? The silver will remain alone and the nitrate will combine with the copper. So it will form the copper nitrate. NO3 whole twice. This is the copper nitrate formula. Fine. So these are all the different equations of the displacement reaction. Clear hai? If you have any question, please ask me. Yeah, do you have any question, beta? Anybody? You can ask me in the chat box. Okay, now let us move on to the last topic of discussion for today, that is uses of metals and non-metals. You already know that we use the metals and non-metals for a large different type of activities. है ना? So, what are the different metals which we use in our daily life? Yeah, the various types of machines. Yeah, the aeroplane, the automobile, cars, satellites, these are all their bodies are made up of the different materials. Okay, so metals are used to make their bodies, the different things. Okay, some of the metals are used for making the wires. Very important, copper wire, aluminium wire, you know that, Hannah? Yes. Some of the metals used for making ornaments. Yes, gold, silver, platinum, they all help to make the different types of ornaments. Yeah. Okay. Next, the metals are also used for the construction site, right? For the construction of the building, for the construction of the bridges, gate, and all. Iron is very important because it is very hard and strong, right? So the metals help in making the different types of buildings and construction purposes, right? Next is the lead. It is used in the X-ray machine, yeah, in the medical field, right? Yes. Mercury, it is used in the thermometer. You have all seen the clinical thermometer. You know that the mercury is present in the bulb. So when the temperature increases, it expands and give a proper reading of your temperature, body temperature. है ना? So mercury is the liquid metal which is used in the thermometer, right? Okay. Next is the aluminium. So we make the aluminium into, we can beat into sheets, right? The aluminium foil, which help for packing the food, right? It keeps the food warm as well as it do not react with the food. है ना? So that is why we use the aluminium foil. So these are all the different uses of the metals. Clear hai? Now let us move on to the non-metals. So what are the uses of the non-metal? One, the most important use for our survival is the oxygen. I have already said this. है ना? So we breathe in the oxygen rich air, right? It goes to the lungs and then it goes to the heart and it flows to all the different parts of our body through the blood. है ना? And after going all to all the different parts of our body, what do? They they do in they are helpful in the different types of reaction as well as they help to produce energy from the food. They break down the food to provide energy, right? So that we can do all the different work. है ना? Yes. Next is non-metal which are made for fertilizer, जैसे nitrogen, phosphorus, which increase the fertility of the soil and help the plants to provide us more crops, right? Yes. Some of the non-metals are used for water purification. जैसे chlorine. We know that the chlorine tablets are used mainly in the swimming pool and all. है ना? Ozone also, right? So ozone comes from the oxygen only. O3 is the symbol of ozone, right? Yes. So these are the different non-metals which are used for the purification. Yeah. Okay. Now non-metals are also used for the antiseptic. Okay, जैसे iodine solution. When there is a cut in your hand or leg, so generally we give the iodine solution to that, right? Exactly. Very good. Now next is the hydrogen, which can be used for as the non-polluting fuel. Yes, graphite, which we use every day while writing with the help of the pencil. So the nib of the pencil is made up of graphite. Yes, and sulfur, which is also used in the vulcanization of the rubber, so that the different improved product of rubber we will get. Okay, so these are the various uses of the non-metals. Clear hai? Is there any doubt? Yes, you can ask me. No doubt. So whatever we have discussed, is it clear to all of you? Yeah. Okay, now let us move on to some of the keywords which you have to remember. That is, when the metals react with oxygen, they form the metallic oxide, which are basic in nature. Okay, so if we react them with the water, we will get the bases, right? Yes. Now, on reacting with the oxygen, non-metal produce the acidic oxides, right? So they produce the acid when they are reacting with the water. We have already discussed these reactions, right? So सल्फ्यूरस एसिड जैसे प्रोड्यूस होते हैं. Thirdly, the reaction in which the metal replace another metal to form its compound, this type of reaction is known as the displacement reaction. So I have given a lot of examples for this. जैसे इधर भी है एक copper sulfate when reacts with zinc, it forms the zinc sulfate and copper. Clear है? Yes. Now tell me this answer. In what form is magnesium found in plant? Can anybody say? Yes. Anybody, can you tell me? I'm looking into the chat box. Yes. Okay. Generally, magnesium is found in the plant in the form of ions. It is a very important element in the formation of the chlorophyll molecules, right? You know that the chlorophyll molecules are the green pigments which give the green color to the leaves, and it is very important for the plant to make the food with the help of the photosynthesis process, है ना? Because chlorophyll actually traps the sunlight, okay, the radiation of the sunlight, and then accordingly the food is made. So this magnesium is mainly present in the chlorophyll in the plant. ठीक है? And magnesium is found in the ionic compound. Okay. Let's move on to some of the points which you have to remember and never confuse within these two. That is, what is element and what is atom. So as you already know that the element is a substance which cannot be broken down into any other form if any sort of chemical reaction is done with it, whether it is cooling or heating or electrolysis, it will never be broken down. So jaise carbon, sulfur, iron, they will remain the carbon, sulfur and iron. Fine. And what is atom? It is the smallest unit of the element, is known as the atom, though there are the different subatomic particles are also there. So the element contains only one kind of atom. Okay, then there are more than 94 naturally occurring elements are there, and most of the elements are metals. We already have seen it in the previous session, है ना? So this is all about today's chapter, today's session. And let me give you a puzzle. Can you find any 6 hidden word in the box given over here? Anybody? Let me find out with all of you. Yes. Okay, I have found one atom. Okay, I found another base. Acha. I found the third one, that is element. Yes. Okay. Anything else is coming to your, like, oh, acid is also there. Yeah, exactly. You found it before me. Okay. Next, displacement. We have studied about the displacement reaction, remember? Yes. Okay. Anything else? Have found one, two, three, four, five. Oh, one more. Yes. Who will tell me another one? Yeah? Okay, copper. Yes, found all 6 of them. Yes. Okay, so let me check whether I have found all of them or not, right? Exactly, I have found all of them with you all, है ना? Okay, chalo. So let us now move on to the question answers, right? Okay. So tell me the first answer. Name the other metal except iron which gets rusted. Yeah, let me see who will give me the answer. Yes, it is the copper, right? Exactly. It forms the green color formation, a coating over the copper vessel if it is kept in the moist air for a long period of time, right? Now let's move on to what will happen when the magnesium ribbon is heated in the presence of air. Yes, who will tell me the answer? Magnesium is heated with the air. एयर में क्या रहता है? Oxygen, right? या तो क्या होगा? Yes, what will be the product? Magnesium oxide. Yes, the magnesium ribbon when starts burning with the white flame in contact with the air and they form a powder which is the magnesium oxide. Okay, let's move on to the third question. Name the reaction in which more reactive metal displaces the less reactive metal. What is the name of that type of reaction? Yes, these are the yes. Can you say in the chat box? Okay, these are the displacement reaction. Clear hai? Chalo. Fourth question is where is sulfur stored? Let me see who will tell me where is sulfur stored. Yes, yes, sulfur is stored in water. Okay. Now tell me where the sodium and potassium usually stored or usually kept in the chemical laboratory. Yes, they are highly reactive with water, है ना? So we store them in the kerosene oil. Okay. Very good. So that's it about today's session. So let me give you some homework. Okay. So these are the question for your homework. I'm giving you 5 questions. You write it down. If you have any confusion, you can ask me in the chat box. I'll give you the proper solution. Okay. So state any three difference between the chemical properties of metal and non-metal. You will write it with the help of the column. Okay. By making a chart. Then explain the reaction of the non-metal with the oxygen. Fine. Third question is the true false, a very small question. Okay, objective type. So oxide of the metal and non-metal are acidic in nature. Is it true or false? Okay, you have to write it. List any three uses of metals and non-metals. Please write any three uses of both of them. Okay, and the fifth question is what do you mean by displacement reaction? And give one example. So these are the 5 questions for your homework. Okay, I'll check it. You have to do the homework, Hannah. Yeah, very good. I know you will do it. Okay, so let us end our session over here. So we have already studied about the chemical properties of the metals and non-metals in today's session. We have already studied how metals and non-metals react with oxygen, how they react with the water, how they react with the acids, and how they react with the bases. Fine. And then we studied about the displacement reaction and the different uses of metals and non-metals. So these are the different topics we discussed today. Okay, so till we meet in the next session, till then, thank you very much and go through the chapter from your textbook also and from these slides you will get the information about all the different chemical reactions. You have to remember it. Okay, so again, I'm reminding you, please subscribe our channel, press on the bell icon so that you will be updated with all the upcoming sessions of YouTube Live, okay, of the Swiflearn